Support Robot Nation #1 comic book on the crowdfunding site Kickstarter. A 44-page sci-fi horror comic book for mature readers from New Zealand.
I think I should let you guys all know. I think a lot of people think that because I talk a lot about politics, about certain things and stuff that's upset me or I see in the news and stuff, that I try to keep out of my comics. That's one thing I really, really do not like in comics, and I try to keep that out. There are some times that I like to pay kind of like homage or, or actually discuss things that I find interesting about the things that I've learned in real life, things I've seen in real life. And I thought, this is pretty cool. How do I kind of like show that in a respectful way? How do I, bring that into what I'm talking about, or how I can kind of, put that as part of my creation, like history and stuff like that, but never be political about it, because I want the characters to say what they want, to do what they want, to to express what they are doing, not what I am doing, not express my voice. And there's one thing about, like, I love writing genre comics. It's like you can talk about anything you want, but place these characters in that world. Like one of the first stories in Robot Nation, which is right now, of course, is on Kickstarter. The link's in the chat, and you can grab that and go and have a look at it right now or later. But the thing about that is that I feel like, people kind of hear me, on Facebook or Twitter or wherever on social media, and they might think, oh, this is what's going to be in that comic book. And I think that's kind of like my fault, right? Because I like to show people that I'm around, I'm a knowledgeable person. I do my research. But when I do the comic books, the only research that goes into the comic books are what the comic book's about. Like I'm doing right now, I'm writing issue 2 of gosh, I've forgotten it. Francesco, right, which is part of the Zeolandia universe. And so with that, I kind of like I had to do a lot of research about Japan. One of the kind of like side characters, main characters, what do you want to call it? And issue 2 is from Japan, and I sort of wanted to find out a lot about that time in Japan. Edo period is one of my favorite times. In Japan, it's just where it's like kind of crosses over to the Westerners going there. So there might be guns, there might be fireworks, there might be gunfire, there might be, kind of like, arms, right? Artillery, stuff like that. Not just katanas and daggers, short swords, samurai. It's a bit more now. So you got kind of comes up to where like it's about, I think it's around about 1700s going on to 1800s. So I've got a character there that I'm writing about right now that gets introduced in issue 2. And we're just, we're kind of close to finishing issue 1, the artwork on that. And one of the cool things about that is that, I get to, and this is the thing about doing fantasy and doing comic books, that a lot of people, might not, really understand the sense of as a creative person when you haven't, done anything creative, or maybe you have, but you haven't really delved right into it. Is that sometimes you kind of like don't understand the mindset about that. Why do people create things? Why do they write stories? Why do they make music? Because, and one of the main reasons that we feel like that's something we have to do as part of who we are. It's like our, it's part of our soul, it's part of our essence. It's us trying to tell a story or trying to create a form of art. or music. Like, why do you know, like music comes from poetry and comes from writing. So you really deep down, that's writing, poetry, and then it comes into like, oh, let's put that into the rhyming, right? Poetry, rhyming, you know, and then you put into a beat, into a melody, and now you've produced something. Comic books is like that. You've come up with an idea. Like last night, I was having this freak, you know, early this morning, usually because my sleep patterns are basically whacked, you know, and so I don't know when I'm, you know, what time I'm awake and what time I'm going to sleep, because I basically go to sleep when I'm totally exhausted, so that when I wake up, I'm totally, you know, totally awake, right? Full of energy. Not that I'm like full of energy, but because usually I'm like, I wake up exhausted anyway because of my body, with my health and stuff like that. And so with that, it's kind of, you know, I like talking about that. Like, so I was having a dream, right? So this is a dream I was having, right? So I'm hanging out with my friends, and this is a weird, like, I've realized this is like the third or fourth time I've had this dream about the situation and about this place and this dream. I mean, like location in the dream, right? Where there is like a comic store and there's a street there, and it's like this weird location set up of the city streets and stuff. And so I find myself in this dream, and this is not the first time in this dream that I found myself like the same dream, right? Or the same location. And I find myself in this dream, and I'm there, and with my, at one moment I'm with my friends, and like somehow I'm going, okay, we're going to go to we've looked at this shop, a comic shop. Now let's go to the next comic shop and have a look at what's going on there. Let's see if I can find something. So I'm like there going, okay, I'm going to look around. And so I get stuff, and then I find, oh, that's not what I want, and I look for somewhere else. Like this thing, there's like about an hour of searching in my dream. It's probably like 5 minutes, right? Or even 2 minutes, because if you're like in real time, dreams like friggin', you know, dreams are like this really, you know, dreamscapes and all that. Let me put this title up so people, you know, later on, you know, when I'm looking at this and I'm trying to clip it or something, I know what I'm talking about. So the dreamscape, like, you know, it's with this place, I've been to this place before in this dream. So sometimes I feel like this is like alternative world, you know, that there is this other part of me in some other strange world living this life, because I don't recognize these shops. I don't recognize these streets. And so this dream must be somewhere else in some other world, because you know, why is my fantasy dreamscape in this place? Anyway, so next thing I know, I come out of the shop, and now I'm on a bike. And then I'm not on a bike, right? This is a weird thing. So these two guys pull up, all right, and on, you know, on their bike, and they grab my bag of freaking I was going to say chocolate, of comics, right, that I've just bought, and I'm like, yo, you don't want to take that. Don't take that, right? You don't want to take that, because I've got friends, they're going to come out and deal with this. And so I'm trying to get my phone, and the weird thing is the phone I have is like a real random phone. It's like one of my oldest phones. I was cleaning this while this is here, right, on this top shelf, about 2 weeks ago, and so this is the phone I have in my friggin' hand, right? This is an old, this is Motorola. Yeah, it's a Motorola, right? So it's an old Motorola from about maybe 6 years ago, 5, maybe 8 years ago, right? And so I'm looking at this, and I'm like, I'm trying to get a, you know, call my friends at the same time, try to get a photo of these guys, and they're gone. By the time I look up, they're already gone, and I'm like frustrated with this phone, and I'm frustrated with the fact that I haven't able to get a photo of these guys, and I'm trying to figure out why is everything messing up on me? Why, and how am I going to deal with this? And then I kind of wake up, right? And the reason I'm showing this image here, this image here is from the story Francesco Romy, and that's from a friggin' dream, right? It started out with a dream, and now it's a friggin' comic book. I have an amazing artist from Sweden who came to us and said, hey, you know, I would love to, have you got anything that I can be involved with to work on? And I'm like, oh, maybe this one. And he's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go look at his work. And I looked at his work, had great art. And I'm like, he's doing dragons. And I'm like, I have an idea for a story that I've been going to put up in the future 5 years. And this, you know, and I've approached him and he goes, yeah, you know, I'm going to have to, okay, you want to work on this? Cool. Okay, now I'm going to have to rush and write the story. But I didn't rush it. This is cool because this is a story that I dreamt of, right? I dreamt of a young girl, not a young girl, right? Like say about 18, 20 years, running through a forest somewhere in my dream, right? And so, and I've spoken on the Zeolandia channel, right? So I'm banned from there for 2 weeks. So I got to like, you know, use a backup. But the thing about that is that with this, like, let me find the actual image that started this whole comic book, right? With dreams, right? So where are you, Romy? I think she's somewhere here. Let me get the right one page. But like, so the character, you know, Romy, right? You know, the whole story gets started because I dream of this character and I'm like, what are these feet? Right? She's running through the forest with these feet and there's, you know, she's down a path and there's trees on the side, trees on that side. I'm like, and then like, what is she running towards? And oh, who's chasing her? And so it turns out there is like some people chasing her, right? Some knights or whatever. And I'm like, I wake up and I go, that could make a great story. But how the hell how do I make a story out of feet, a young, you know, late teens, early 20s chick running down a path? How do I dream that, you know, make that into something? And the interesting thing about that, right, is that I had no clue. But one thing I have been able to do is trust myself and this is it here, right? And this is a cool little image that that we've set up doing with you know, this is the original, and it ends up being like a little couple pages later, right? So let me move this around so you can see this. And so like this is what I see first, right? In this dream that probably lasted for about 2-3 seconds. But you know, when you're in the dream, I mean 2-3 seconds in real life, but real time, world time, you know, whatever our time. But in the dream, it seemed like going forever. Enough to make me think, this is a cool way, maybe something to build into something, right? And out of that became this whole universe, you know, of, you know, this basically this little sequence here, right? Became this whole freaking comic book, whole universe, made me think about, you know what, we could create our own mythology for New Zealand in this sort of fantastical setting that Lord of the Rings did for England, right? And I'm not trying to pump myself up or blow up my head and say, oh, I'm all this. It's just I'm trying to show how I thought that maybe this is something that could be that something. So, okay, if that's the case, then what do we do? All right, what if we call the place Zeolandia? I had a look online, make sure there was nobody had that name, right? And then next thing was like, well, what is Zeolandia? Well, Zeolandia is our version of New Zealand. Okay, so is it the same size? Because that means that if I'm doing the same size, you need a lot of time to travel to places. So I thought, what I'll do is, I went on, you know, looked at the map of New Zealand, did the whole, you know, 5 meters, 10 meters, or 2K, 3K type thing. So I figured out how far things were and how long it would take to walk to somewhere in a day or in a couple of hours. And so what I thought was the best thing to do to this world was like slim it down to 1/10 the size of New Zealand. And so you had the northern island and southern island, right? And so we created this, you know, and I love how Edwin, right, from Sweden, It's winter. No, it's summer. It's midsummer there, right? So they have that special. If you've seen the horror movie Midsummer, it's kind of there, but it's like the happy version of that, right? It's a family thing that they do. So he's over having that time with his family. So bit of a break, right? But he's done amazing work on this. Like, this is me lettering this. Not the final letters. I'm probably gonna touch it up and, you know, the final, but like, I'm just wanting to show him this is how it's all gonna, you know, look on the page, you know. And so this is, you know, we're doing like about 30 pages per issue, right? That's 30 pages of comic book art and story per issue. And if you know me, if you see any of my other, you know, comic pages online, there's a lot of text on the pages, because I like to tell, you know, I've not trying to name drop, but I'm kind of like in the vein of Alan Moore style of storytelling, because I want people to stay on that page and look at it more. I want people look at the panel more. So the best way I can do that is tell you a bit more, put more text on there to give you a story, right? And so you know, here she is. Here's Romy, and so you come, you know, the world. You look at this, you know, it's a magical world. And so the other thing I did was like, oh well, so if that's a freaking magic world, it's going to have magic creatures. So I started doing a lore about this entire world. Like, what seasons are there, right? There's 3 seasons, right? And what are the months, right? How many months in a year? Everything. I was like friggin', and this is because this is before Joachim came to us, right? Several months ago. This is all me, you know, me thinking like, I'm going to take half a, you know, 5 years to build this entire story up. So I'm writing about every character. I've got my main 5 or 6 leads in this world, and then, you know, side characters like dwarves, like orcs, working up a map for it, like kind of creating laws for it. Like, so there is this other thing, you know, that I have, where I create this whole universe. Thank you for watching. If you've first time on this channel, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. There's something that I forget all the time to do, because I just feel like it's like, you know, it's something that we don't do as Kiwis. So it's not something that comes natural to us. Hey, do this, do that. It's just like, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. So I want to show you the map, right? And this is, and talking about Robot Nation, the first issue of Robot Nation that's on Kickstarter right now. The link's in the chat, right at the top, pinned there, so you can't miss it. I actually have an image of the map and the 2 characters in, telling you a bit about that project in the book, as like a preview to what's coming up, you know, what you can expect from us, because this comic's coming up. We've got another comic called Templeton, which is the next one we're going to bring out, right? Issue 1 of that, because we've got like about 6-7 people working on different comics in the studio. Like Punch Studio's got like several books being worked on at the same time. And so that's why we have these extra pages in the Robot Nation, you know, like posters, like images, you know, I'm writing about the guys who are translating it, talking about who they are, what projects they're working on, what to look forward to, right? Because, you know, I wanted people to understand in this one shot that that Robot Nation is, that you can read that and put it away and not worry about when's the next comic coming up, because the next following. However, there will be a next comic coming, and that'll be the same way. It's like reading a movie and then it's done. Then reading another movie and it's done. That's the whole idea about Robot Nation. It's the only one that we do that way. Everything else, like, you know, issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, follows on, and, you know, this one here, Fantastical Romy Part 1, then Part 2, then Part 3, you know, so on. However, Robot Nation is just each issue is a one and done, and you get a great, you know, 2 stories out of it. There might be a 60-page story, right? And then there'll be a 6-page or 5-page as a backup story. That's how we're doing Robot Nation. Now, let me find you this. where are you, map? There you are. This is the latest one. It was done in January. I've added a bit more to this map because, you know, as you write more stories, you kind of have to change things a bit. And that's, of course, it's going to be there before, you know, before you end up, let me bring it up, you know, before you bring the whole book to the, you know, to the readers. So this is how, you know, we broke up this one, you know, like here, I can tell you, right? So it's 10 miles from here to here, it's 10 miles, right? Or 8 miles. And so, you know, I did it in miles because I know it's, you know, for international readers, but we basically in New Zealand have kilometers, right? And I think Aussies do the same thing as well, our cousins over there, right? And so, you know, we'll kind of like change things around, like Rotoruas, ice mountains, and you tell a little. So this is how I built this world up before I started like really getting into the lore of the land. I said, well, how do I create these little places for each one of these things to happen, so that's background to the history of this world, you know, this country, because the world itself is Akashara, right? But Zeolandia is that world in this place. Like, it's, if you really think about it, the way my mind works, I think the way this is this country here, Zeolandia is the, what is it? I've got a tip of my tongue. The Bermuda Triangle of Akashara, right? It's this place that you go into and you may never come out of, right? And it's like the Bermuda Triangle of this world. And so when you really look at it, like the entire thing, and I have a problem mentally, like I have a problem with east, west. All I know is north and south. I will tell you north and south, right? But when you go what side is east and what side is west, I always get confused, man, no matter where I am. And I have to always ask, it's like, what side's east or west? I can never figure it out. So I actually had to go and look up this freaking compass thing to go, okay, this is the west and this is the east, right? So now, so the way I work it out, because I'm a huge fan of fantasy, right? I've always been into the, like, you know, the idea of reading it, you know, the books of Narnia, like the CS books, the Chronicles of Narnia. I actually had to go and buy it, you know, at the age of 50, right? Because I'm like, I gotta have it finally, because I've always read it as a kid, but I never actually owned my own pack, like, you know, the set of books. And I finally got it last year, and I was like, yeah, because it was on Hospice or whatever secondhand shop. And I was like, yeah, I'll get that. But you know, so I get to, like, you know, this is the thing. This is about how to create history for me, right? I don't know how everybody else does it, but I go and put the names out, and then I go, okay, this is the demon city, Veramos, right? Azaz rules here, right? And you go, okay, so what's going on here, right? And then I know that when I'm writing later, and I need to go, who was there? Oh, that's right, this place here. I can now bring this character later on to some other place, right? If one of my characters, because the first issue and the first story arc is around here, right? And but we do talk about characters around here, kind of like a, you know, it's kind of like little Easter eggs, or talk about where there's somebody that might show up there is from. So now let me just finish off here, because I tend to jump backwards and forwards, right? And I apologize for that. So Demon City of Rathenow, right? So they're kind of like, they live like, this area here is like the South Island, bottom New Zealand. And so I've actually used to, I went and studied here, Gill's Landing. Oh no, sorry, Unicorn's Peak, right? So this place is called Invercargill. And so this is, I can't remember the name of that, but it's like Land's End. There's a place here called Land's End, right here. And so I was like, you know, working everything out. And so you can have these little, like, so if you, you know, if you see the map in Robot Nation, please go and have a look on, you know, do look at it later, or even now while I'm talking away. Kind of, I tend to do that, like one screen there, but you know, you probably not have two screens, because I like to multitask. This is why my brain's all over the place, because I'm like, oh, I'm watching that, I'm watching that. Anyway, so all these places actually are real cities and towns in New Zealand, but they've been changed around. So like you know, over here we call this where are we? Water's Rain. This is where I'm right now, right? Water's Rain. This is number 8, so I called it Water's Rain because I think I can't remember why I called it that, but it's got to do with, you know, water and stuff like that. Just my brain's just not working right now. Now, this is the weirdest thing. Recently, because I write this at RNC because of Aurelia and Borealis, right? That's why I said so that, and this is like done like last year, and the reason I'm telling you this story is because recently I slept through it. We had amazing Aurora Borealis here in New Zealand, like all across, like it was like purple, orange, reds, and I was like, I slept through that. I was like so gutted. So I was like down, like, you know, save this photo that everybody's loading up. So I've got a whole friggin' maybe about 50, 60 photos of somebody else has taken. And I'm like, I missed the greatest thing that I wanted to experience for me because of the story. So the RNC is basically on this side. That's what you get to see, this beautiful sky that's like that, you know, all the time. And I was like gutted not being able to experience that. But I'll show you guys some photos later why I was like so miffed, well, annoyed, right, by that. So the whole idea, you know, I said the first issue and the first story arc is set around here, you know. So right here is what we call the village of Rastria. I mean, the town of Rastria, right? In Water's Rain, the area is Water's Rain, and that's the elves. So I'm going to show you some pictures now. Let me see if I got that now. Let's pop out of that. All right, so we've got Justin. Hey, Justin, making maps is something that I want to start getting into. Just exactly, man. Helps with consistency and opening up. Yeah, it's a great way to set up story options. You're right. It helps with like, you know, like I said, like helps me to know the top topography, right, of the land. How, like, so it's very, I think it's easy for me to do now because I've based it in New Zealand, right? So I know that even though it's like 1/10 the size, but the mountains are there. Like I know Mount Parahaki's there, just over there, right? So when I look at it, I go, oh, that's high. Okay, so it's like this. But Google is the greatest thing that I think for researchers, right? And it's just, I mean, especially at this time for writers, I should say, not researchers. Same thing, I guess, in the sense we are, as writers, we are researchers. Let me pop back out. So that's the other thing, right? Coming up with characters. So I remember I said earlier on about the knights chasing her. So this is, you know, this is the knights, you know, chasing her and on wyverns, you know, creating all this stuff like that. And I just love how, you know, Iwakim just does these characters, man. I go, hey, this is a reference. I'm thinking about this and this, and go for it, right? And he turns up something, and I'm like, oh wow, man, that's more than I actually thought, and I'm so glad you're so you know, part of this. And that's the same thing. And I don't like sort of have a favorite amongst the artists, because each story to me is my baby, right? So every artist on that is just doing their best. So when I talk about Iwakim doing the best on this, I'm thinking, yeah. And then when I talk about the Howl, I go, yeah, you know, Louise is doing great on that because it's just, you know, seeing all that. So here's the, actually, there you go. So there's a big, huge, you know, wyvern, you know, land lizard, right? There you go, the giant lizards carry the human knights at Dorian's Keep, right? It's just so cool. Like, it just cracks me up. It's almost like, kind of like, in a sense, looks like something out of Asterix, but at the same time out of the life of Brian, if you know Monty Python, you know. But this is Romalina, right? She's like really cool. It's just, yeah. And these, by the way, these are all hand drawn, as you can see. No AI crap here, right? You can see the coloring with the felt there, all pencils and inks. So let me pop over and grab this other thing I want to show you guys, because I just like, you know, this is a project that shouldn't be actually be happening right now, right? it was planned to be about 5 years on the road, because I had this whole idea that I would, like, in 5 years I would have enough money to do this and to put together, you know, after saving up, and then look at another 5 years to put together a board game, right? But you know, sometimes, you know, you just got to roll with whatever life throws at you, and you got to take the chances that you're given, and not everything is going to be, you know, work at the same time. And so you got to, you know, I'm a, you know, I come from a family of net fishers, right? Fishermen. So you just throw your, you know, you walk into, I think we didn't throw our nets out. So you walk out, two people walk out, you know, one stands here and the other one goes around their side. And so, you know, the beach, they go around like this and they walk into the water, and then the two meet up on this, you know, kind of like this, and then meet up on the shore, right, with the sticks, because like about 2 meters high. And then in the net will be all the fishes that are big enough that haven't gone through in the net. And then you throw back whatever you don't want to eat or isn't right. Sometimes you might get fish that's like, you know, a bit more tropical, a bit more like not, you know, maybe poisonous or not healthy to eat. You chuck those back and you take whatever else you want home. So I kind of think like with comic creating, you got to do, it's got to be the same way. You don't know what's gonna, like, with anything, like, right, you don't know what song's gonna be a hit, right? You got a song of, you know, you got an album of 10 songs or 5 songs, and one everybody loves and the other's just like, yeah, it's not great. And then you find out, like, hey, the one you put on the B side everybody loves, but the A side isn't it, you know? So because you don't know what people are going to like. And so as someone who's creating something like this, I'm always thinking like, okay, I just like to tell stories. Whatever genre I can tell that story into, is that story set for that? So like, this is always supposed to be a fantasy story because that's how it started, you know? So now I have a couple images I want to show you guys. So I'm looking at the files. Like, there's supposed to be a light novel, a children's book I'm writing. You know, people, like I said to people on Facebook, I say, hey, look, I'm looking to write a children's book I've been thinking of doing for about 10 years. And someone, you know, a couple of people said, just go for it. And I thought, what I could do is I could do like a 5 years in the future of Francesco Romy, you know, Zeolandia, set these characters in 5 years in the future. And here's the other thing about, like, you know, Justin was just saying, like, about, you know, with the maps, by setting like telling a story 5 years in the future, it can sometimes fill up the history part of it. And I was like, I was writing, you know, because I'm supposed to write about 100 pages with about 2-3 paragraphs on each, so it becomes like a page of art, like a full page of like a single image, and then the next page is like about, you know, like about a dozen sentences or something. So that's what's like light novel, right, for the young kids to read. And so that is something, that's the other thing that I'm working on now. And then of course the board game for this world, right, which is called The Final Dawn. Zeolandia, The Final Dawn, right? And so, which is where like this whole event happens after all this happens in the comic books. Okay, let's get to this friggin' images floundering around in here. Where are you? There we go, Fantastical Roaming. There's like about a half a dozen to a dozen friggin' files here. Right. So so earlier on I mentioned about research, right? And how in issue 2, kind of like, you know, because I'm there's a character from Japan that is introduced into that. And you guys go, why are you talking about Japan now? Because we don't even introduce the second character, you know, second issue, when you haven't even put the first issue out. Well, it's because in this world, there's people from our world that goes into this, and it's kind of like you know, we're building this big universe of this world, right? World building. But also because I'm writing issue 2 right now, and I want to show you some reference stuff and how my brain works when it comes to reference work and research and stuff. And there's this one of the other things, just, you know, there is a person on, if you guys like have joined, if you're an artist, please join Cara.App. That's app. It's a new app for artists with no AI art. I'm on there, it's malfunction. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to take that down. Apologies there, Justin. Right, so different story options, exactly. So it makes it more authentic if you base it on what you know. Exactly right. And I think, and this is the thing, right? People want authenticity, storytelling. I am tired of fake. What is it called? Tokenism. Things chucked in for sales. Things put out there just so that you can target some audience. I don't like that whole idea, and I'm going to show you something about that later, and my views on that, because I'm one of these guys who I don't like things pushed on me, and I don't like original characters being messed with. I just don't, because that like 30 years later you're doing something that character that the original creator didn't think of it, didn't want you to, didn't even create that character for, and you want to mess with that. That's just, it's kind of rude. Now this is what I was going to show you. There's I'll pop over to Annie Stagg's page soon, but check this out, this beautiful work. And why I put this up here is because because I joined Cara like about March or something, and then all of a sudden everybody was popping onto there like about 3-4 weeks ago. And so I went on there, and I this any stuff came across. So let me find Annie Stagg. Where are you, Annie Stagg journal? All right. So Annie is this beautiful, beautiful art style, right? She's this amazing artist on there. So let me grab her, because like I said, I want you guys to go follow her on there, but also go join, if you hate AI art, go join a platform where real human artists are, right? Or whatever art style, they're there. So this is Annie's thing. And so Annie had this, because the reason I do this, because I just said to her, because I'm actually doing issue 2 is going to have mermaids, because I already did a story, place mermaids there. So if you look at the map again, right, and I'll bring up a better image of hers with the with the mermaid that really got me. So over here, remember, this is written about last year sometime, right? And so originally about maybe 21, 22, when I came up with those. This is Mermaid Lake, right here. And it's a real place in New Zealand. There's a little, where we are, right? Just a couple of hours up the road, right? And so there's Mermaid's Lake, and there's also, it's just the way I've written it, how everything works, because it's all got like Justin said earlier, it helps with options when you're telling stories. So back to Annie Stagg, right? So Annie, I was on there and I saw Annie's art, and I'm like, wow, man, this is perfect. And I said to her, would you ever be interested in doing a cover? I saw this, I was blown away. Because I already set up that this is what's in issue 2. We'd have mermaids, but how much of how much they play a part in that or not, I don't know. But also there is another story I've written that I'm working on, and I misplaced a friggin' script in amongst my 4 gigs or 4 gigs worth of terabytes worth of friggin' folders somewhere, right? Or 2 terabytes worth of folders. I think I've lost the story, which is called the sunset. Is it sunset? The sunset over Sonosali Island. And it's got the artwork in it. For the title, it has got a mermaid tail on it, so that you get an idea of what that's about. So I'll show you that just while we're here, right? While we're talking about this. So, and that was planned for this year, but I always kind of like, you know, I just put all these stories out, and in time, you know, I just take them forward and work on them, or, you know, or later or whatever. Or was it planned for next year? The years move so fast, man. I tell you, when you're getting older, 2005, where are you? Oh, that's what I just realized something. It's under a different title, and it's under the Strange Love Stories series, which is where the tortoise. If you've looked on, you know, on Rising Sun Publishing page under RSCFO, which is Rising Sun Oceania, at the store you'll find out, like, you know, that the tortoise is there. That's part of the Strange Love Story series. So this is the. Let me see when I actually did that. So you know, when I came up with this. Will you tell me? Will you tell me? Where's my info? One sec, guys. Let me just details. Oh, everything gets updated when you mess around with it. All right. So yeah. So the Sea at Dusk over Sonosoli Island is what it's called. If you touch it, I think it was last year or the year before, maybe. Which is what I've got it. So here's the logo that I designed for that. And this is what you know, one of the things I do is like, it's logo design is one of my favorite things. When I was a young kid and getting into heavy metal, right? Young kid, I mean like 15, 14, right? 15, probably 15, 16, when I was into, you know, that's when my love with heavy metal started, was that logos is what I used to draw all the time, over and over again. So like, you know, I've got Megadeth here, so I'd be drawing Megadeth over and over and learning to shade it and stuff. And so one of the things about that, I think one of my, what would you call it? My skills, right? One of my skills is logo design, right? So that's something that I go at, do it over and over again. So this is like, you know, the Sea at Dusk over Sonosoli Island, and you can see this like here, and this is done like about a year or two ago. But I wanted to put that in there so that people, you know, can see what that's about. So that story is about mermaids, and it's part of the Strange Love Story, you know, series that I'm doing. And it's in the sense of Strange Love Stories, it's not like not natural love stories, right? It's like between, say, like you know, fantasy creatures, supernatural beings, and stuff like that, and humans are interacting with that. So let's get back to the mermaid for Zeolandia, because we talk not Zeolandia, yeah, Zeolandia, that's what we're talking about at the moment. So I saw this, and I said to, you know, I said to Annie, I said, look, man, this is so inspirational to me, because I'm like, you know, this is what I'm looking. I've got two works I'm working on, and every time I look at other people's images of that, I think like, how can I, you know, how can I like, what I create cannot be the same as what somebody else creates. It's got to be different, because I want everything I create to be like authentic to me, to be original, right? I don't want it to be a copy of a copy of a copy. And I would love to be able to afford one day, or I don't know, if we're whatever prices, to have Annie do a cover for Sonosoli Island, right? Like the whole Dusk over Sonosoli Island. And just, you know, she's got this beautiful, what is it called? Renaissance style artwork. You know, you know, her colors, they all have this beautiful, earthy, soft touch. And it's just great artists, man. It's just, yeah, like this is amazing, right? As you can see, like this is like a lake, right? That's like a man-made lake, because it's not man-made lake, but I'm like, it's got trees in there. It kind of reminds me of a story by Alan Moore as part of the, what was called, part of the Swamp Thing saga, the original series. There's where the Swamp Thing, there's a lake that's been run, there was a town, and a dam broke and basically drowned the town, and so it's about the drowned ghosts of that town. And it's like this. So like you see all this sort of thing. Then over here you see a house, you know, and then you see like shops, cars drowned, you know, under this in this lake, a man, you know, accidental man-made lake. And so that's what it kind of reminds me of. Look at the detail, man. Look at this. Having, you know, I would love to have her do a cover for, you know, the Silent Island story when we do that. But not only that, I'll, you know, maybe, you know, if she's up for it, maybe do, and if I have the money, have her do a cover for, you know, Fantastical Roaming later on or whenever, because it's just such a great. And sorry for going in and out. My hands like always, fingers always like move. They have this constant freaking messing around with. So yeah, it's just so great. So I'm going to show you the Aurora Borealis that came up here the other day, and I missed out on. So gutted. I mean, the other month or two back. I think it was last month. Might have been last month. That also gutted it, and so I said to, I saved all those photos, and then I put it into reference for, you know, for issue 2, for to show, you know, later. And these are people like posted online, you know, on Facebook and stuff, and like, oh, it's so gutted for missing out, man. You have no idea how bad I felt for not being aware that was happening, and then waking up to see it. So look at this. This is actually photo, unmessed with, taken by New Zealand Photography, right? Not messed with at all. This is what it looked like where they were. So that's one. Look at this. Right, so when we go to color.aurora, at that side, the skies, we've got all these reference photos to see how the beautiful the you know, the colors should be when they're there in the background. Right, they left their tripod there, but that's pretty cool. So they took one with the phone and with the camera, right? This is what we call cabbage trees in New Zealand. It's like there's like the stalks, what's they call it, this stem or bark or whatever they call it. There's no leaves on there, but like right at the top there'll be all these like leaves, kind of like the same type we call flax. And it's just, man, I was just so gutted not being able to see all this and with my own eyes, right? Now I have to rely on the photos, and I appreciate the fact that people took all these photos. Like I said, I love researching. I love to bring as much research into my work. And as you know, for those who are just joining us earlier, one thing I don't do, and I think people, because I do talk about a lot of politics on Facebook, and even when we do streams, I don't bring that into my stories. I if I ever feel like it's in there, I like make sure it's not there. The reason for that is I want those stories to be authentic about the people, right? Those characters, where they're from, you know, what their life is. They get built up by me, but they're not. Those stories aren't political stories. They're about these individuals living their life, whatever those lives are. And I'm going to talk, you know, so for Romy, right? Romy basically is just a kid whose mum, you find out later on that she's just been raised by her dad, and what sort of person she is in issue 1, and how she gets to Zeolandia, and what happens to her. Like she's just a normal human being, and what happens to her in this world at the age of 17, you know. And then we take, you know, then we bring it, you know, we try to figure out, she's got to learn like this world, right? This fantasy world with people, beast people, like half humans, half beast, right? Dragons, you know, wizards, freaking elves, you know. Oh, and here's somebody else who took a photo. This is Corey Harp Images. So yeah, look at how beautiful this all looks, man. I'm like just blown away. This is in Auckland, I think. I actually might know this place. This is the weird thing about this. I think I've walked down the street like maybe a few years back when I used to live in Auckland, maybe a decade back. Look at that. It's just so cool. But that's just gorgeous. And like I said, like I'm so pissed off at myself for being asleep during it, because my sleep habits are really bad because my head and my head and neck injuries and spine injuries. So it's like whenever I feel like I need to sleep, I just sleep. Right, it might be in the middle of the day. I'll just like sleep, because if the brain gets a bit worn, too stressed out, I'll sleep. And sometimes I'll be up for 2 days. This is how crazy thing is. So like I want to go. Okay, I'm gonna stream today. 2 hours later, I'll be like, I can't. Yeah, just can't. And or maybe I'll stream tomorrow and like get to tomorrow and like no, I can't. So that's why you guys get random streams from me. Otherwise, every time. So this is to do with my research, right? Because one of the things about this is like the other part of research here is that I had to write an entire lore about how the hell the first elves come to this place, right? And I had to create this entire thing about this place. And I was like, this is from right here. This is from right. Is it what beach is this? This is oh, my sister was just walking it yesterday or today. It's not Lang's Beach. It's Ocean's Beach. Yeah, so it's Ocean's Beach. And so, this is a cool photo of that. Look at that. It's so gorgeous. All right, so I was going. Right, so that's where it is. Okay, let me just grab this. I was going to show you guys the Colourist thing before I move on to the next slide. So this is Colourist, the artist, and what is it? Oh, it's Cara.App. That's what I was going. Why am I saying Cara? So this is Annie. Sorry, this is Annie Stagg Gerard. Annie Stagg is her thing. There you go. So Annie is her. Annie Stagg is her ad. And the link for that is the chat. So look at all this beautiful work, fantasy art that she's done, man. Like it blows me away. And I've never seen before joining Cara, had no idea that this artist existed. This great work that she's done, right? And it's 16 inches by 16 inches, so that's 7. So it's only about this big. Yeah, it's awesome. With Glary Nucleus in 2018, so I did that 6 years ago. Painted for my solo work. So this is painting, right? Look at that. Oils on wooden panel. So what? Maybe it's like pine, maybe on pine. The coveted 20 by 16 by 20 inches. Oh, look at that. That's so cool. Talk about beast people, right? So she's got horns like a moth queen, but like, yeah. Is it longhorns? Or is it like steer? Or do they call them steers like that? Look at that. Again, another mermaid. It's just so cool, man. 14 by 18 inches oils. Detailed. Like, think of a detail. Like, look at that. A transition on that, like coloring and stuff. And this is the thing, right? Somebody could basically take her work and say, run it through AI and go, oh, I want it like Annie Stagg's work. And all this time and effort she's put into that is just, someone's just going to take it. And now it's going to say, oh, look what I've crapped out, right? In the style of such and such. And this is why AI is not the best friend of artists, right? Look at that, it's beautiful. Almost like this. I mean, it's got the fabled companions, but like it reminds me of Harry Potter. It's just so cool. And of course, like I'm on there as well, as I said. So I'm there with this. So if you want to follow me, I am with my artist name. We're going to get profiles here. No, you don't want to. There we go. All right. Just gives me home, what's weird. All right. Let me get out there and see if it gives me name. I think I'm on, yeah, I'm under there on my artist name. So there we go. So if you want to follow me, please do. You know, you're more than welcome to. So this is me there. Let me pop that up into a bigger size. I should have done that with Cara. I mean, with Annie, right? But I want to show you some art we're talking about. So a couple of weeks ago, I saw, manual. Sorry, not manual. I saw my colorist doing like test, fan art test pieces for like coloring other people's work. And I said to him, well, because he was on board just messing around. And I said, well, if you're bored, just I would love to see you do a rendition of my own original character, right? Magpie, from our upcoming, I haven't started writing it, but I've got all the story ideas, everything in my head. I know what's going to happen when, but I need to flesh it out a bit more, right? And so I said, hey, have a go at this, man. Just do some fan art based on my character, right? That we're going to be putting out. So this is, Artex and Manuel Soto basically doing Magpie, because I wanted to show people that I have some great artists that I'm working with, right? And colorists and so on. So taking this and that, and creating this looks so cool, man. I've got the pencils for this as well, and just full on, and then also you're going to, we've got this whole idea of who the character is and what happens with him and why, how things go on from there, right? But this is like his costume look that he did. I thought it was like freaking brilliant. So, like I said, I love doing logos. Logos is my thing. So that wasn't the first logo design, right? And you can see like having to work on that and then coming up with like how I wanted to have the mask in there. So people, so if we just put the mask in there, you'd know it was the magpie, right? He was that, part of the blackbirds. And then of course you got his M there and so on. And then like this, the whole setup of how it all worked out. So you see, so you get to see my own way of processes, like I was showing you about her processes, right? How my process work. And here's the thing. This is somebody else's image, like pencil to ink, that I've colored in myself and drawn around and like traced around to then to go, okay, now this is what I'm mocking up, right? And so you get this whole idea of like this, and going, oh, this is what it's going to look like here. It's going to black cape and so on, and it's going to have this red, it's going to have this white, and all these colors will look like this and so on, set up. And the other things, right, we can see here, it's like gloves and like it's going to be like these claws that has to come out of it like titanium, so you can grab onto things, climb up or whatever, and not just so you can, like, if he needs to jump onto a wall to get around to kick back at someone, he can do that, right? Or if he needs to like hold on to, like, if he's jumping across and holds onto a pole, that sort of thing. So that of course isn't the only one, right? We've got our other images on there promoting work from other our other artists, especially with the Rising Sun. I'm saying, like, especially with the Rising Sun Oceania comic, right? Our Plunge Studios Robot Nation coming out, right? And and so yeah, what was the other one? So this is a G-Spot cover, and he's done 2 versions. So, but of course, I also placed, give an idea of people what we've got coming up as by Francesco Rome as well. You guys, if you follow the other channel, you've seen like me talking about this, how I just like did like a humor piece, filling up this, like playing around with the dialogue. He was like, nah, and she was like, uh-huh, and then she punched him. Girl boss and all that. Took his head right off. But yeah, but I did put up like just this whole what we're doing with this, kind of give you an idea of how we set up. I set up this panel here, and I'm not, just so you can see what Kim's done, right, as an artist, bringing this little panel, right, to life like this. And that's what I appreciate art, our artists so much. I was going to show something here. Oh yeah, this is one of my earliest works from about 2009 that I was working on, and I think I've lost quite a few pages of this. I think I did about 24 pages, but between the many software and desktop, MacBook, laptop, somewhere it all got garbaged up, like gargled up, whatever, And this one's called The Pyramid, and it's about slavery, and it's probably kind of a political book, but not really. It's like a historical fiction. It's just about the end of slavery, about 1885. So sad about that. So I did 22 pages, but yeah, I haven't been back to it for about maybe a decade. So that's that. I think that's all that we put on this so far on this page, but every now and then I pop over there to put some of my stuff on. Now, let me pop over to our Robot Nation. So right now, I mean, we've got another, today we received another like $80, like 80, no, another $60 New Zealand went into it. It's like, I mean, this is about 2K, 2.5 or 2K US. So it's not really that, that major price wise, because like there's people are asking for thousands of dollars. One thing I I really want to put, let you guys know, this comic is 44 pages, right? It's almost twice the size of a normal comic book, which is why it's a bit more expensive than like a normal standard like $5 US book, right? Because I was looking at it earlier, it was telling what was the price it was giving me. Let me just look at something else. Yeah, I'm there. All right, so where are we? Is it that one? Yeah, so the digital $6, right? Digital $6 US, $10 New Zealand, I think. Yeah, I think it's $10. It's $1 New Zealand is like about 60 cents US. So it's probably better if I show you this one. Actually, in the US, but like, yeah. So the print is like $15 US, because once again, it's twice the size of a normal comic book, and it's full color, right? And so it's like, if it was like black and white, it'll be like probably about $10, but especially at 44 pages. And the other thing is, like, we are doing like 3 different languages, right? We're not just doing English. So you get Portuguese, and you get, let me get down to the other one here. So like talking about the colors, right? Story on Earth, which is about how many pages is a story on Earth? I always forget. So the first story is about 16 pages, right? Which, if you really think about it, it's like about 22-page normal standard 22-page comic book. But without with the way I write, I kind of like put a lot on the page, a lot of information, a lot of dialogue on the page. So you get pages like this, right? lot of information, and sometimes you get more than that depending on how many panels there are. So if this was a normal comic book, it'll be about 60 pages, maybe close to 70 pages. So it'll be two comic books or 3 comic books. But and I think maybe next time I'll do that, like put like 2 or 3 bubbles on each panel, and that'll be it. And then I'll expand it to like 90 pages and then charge more. Or I could just do this and have less pages and more story, and actually deliver a better product for the price point, right? So, and this one here, I was just showing that, like, as I've mentioned earlier, on the other channel, which is blocked, by the way, for me for about 2 weeks. So that's why I'm on this one. But I think we'll keep, we'll use that PlungeCast for casting and interviews, and we'll use this for comics. Kind of weird to have 2 different things, but I think it's a good way to like separate, art from everyday thing, right? So this one, as you can see, like beautiful art and beautiful colors by beautiful art by Francesco Conte, and Italian artist, and great work by American artist Edwin, Badillo, Colourist, sorry, I should say. So regular cover A, English, right? Cover B, Spanish, right? Cover C, each version's got a different cover, so you know that that's what that is, right? And then you got Portuguese language. Now the reason like it goes up in price, like it's only about $3 difference, right? Is it $3? Let me just check here. It is, yeah, it's about $3. So it's $15 US for the cover A, 44 pages, right? Not 22, not 28, 44 pages, like double the size of a normal comic book, right? And then also you get 28 pages of art as well, comic story. And like I said, it's pretty, pretty concise, right? And then so there's $3 difference between the English and translated, because we have translators for each. Like we have a Spanish translator and we have a Portuguese translator, and I want to make sure that they get something for translating as well, right? Hence why. Plus also there are different covers on that as well, so you got variant covers as well on that. And and then also you've got all these other amazing artists here. You've got James D. Hill, and our first not safe for work release from us, because Incredigo was all ages, and that there was no way that was going to have anything like that in there. And also this is a mature reader's book, but it's actually, there is no nudity in the book. It's more about like violence and gore and blood and all that, because it's robots and humans, and so on. And so this is the only cover that you'll get, but that is the NSFW, not safe for work, but there is a foil version of that, which is the virgin cover, right? Which is no trade dress, which is like having the title on there and names, and everybody else is like, you have to imprint like the stuff here, right? So you don't get any of that on there. Then also you've got the G-Spot cover, which is beautiful, colorful, regular print cover, and then you've also got this one from Edwin, who's doing Zeolandia. And then you've got G-Spots with just the, where you can draw your own on the white cover. And there's a mystery cover by Tomas, who's done this cover here, right, which is cover B, which is the Spanish one. And so we got a mystery variant there, and I hope people aren't like disappointed if they see it, because I think it looks great. It's kind of a variation on this cover here. And of course, got the foil. So you got the foil not on NSFW, and you've got the beneath the skin version of this cover here, right? So no lingerie on there. It's kind of like almost nudity, right, for a robot. and I can't wait to see that in foil, man. Please support the book so we can get all these printed, right? And also you've got here, you know, the wraparound foil variant, virgin, full, you know, front and back. And then you've got the chrome full color version of that, which is like here you can see like there's grays and stuff and silver. But then here you got the chrome version. And I think someone's actually bought the chrome version recently, and I think it was one of I think it was Raj Mahan. Raj Mahan, yeah. Where are we? I think I saw somebody get that. Is it that one? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, thank you for that, Raj. That's I think that's 65. So I think that's around about 55 US. It worked out to be. Move. No, it was $40 US, the chrome. Yeah, so it's $40 US for the chrome for that, right? Not bad price wise, because here's the thing, all of these are like very limited, right? There's only 25 ever going to be made of that printed, right? So if you got that, that's like we got to make 25. So hopefully more, you know, 24 other people want to get them as well. So, you know, that's the other thing that a lot of people don't understand about these, like minimum orders, right? 25 is a minimum order. And if you want to get like one off, then you got to pay extra. The amount says works out probably like maybe about 20, maybe 15 to $20 just for us to get it printed. Not even worry about trying to, you know, pay everybody for working on it, but just to print it, right? And that's US, by the way, not New Zealand. And so, you know, that's why like these prices are what they are, because the, you know, minimum orders are minimum orders, and you can't. And plus, the other thing is you want to release them as like limited series. I don't want to see like 1,000 of my chrome covers out there, because it's like, what's it? I'm as a collector, right? I don't want to see. I want to be able to people who support these specific covers. They you know, they are doing it because they know that there's only a certain amount of them, because, you know, and then some people will buy to sell, and that's fine, right? If you're going to buy the comics to sell, or I'm all for it, because I do the same thing. I actually buy people who already bought stuff, right? Because I don't, you know, because I want to have things in my collection as well. So then you can get all 3 language versions with all the 3 covers, and so there's different prices for that. And all you're seeing here is the New Zealand prices, so you got to, like, you know, when you go wherever you are in your country, you'll see it in your prices, and you'll be able to work that out, right? So yeah, we did a retail incentive because this is a one-shot kind of style thing. So it's one and done, and it would be an easy way to have retailers support us. Whether they do or not, you know, let's hope they do, right? But there's always that finger crossed moment where you go, oh, is this a good thing to do? Because there's a lot of, you know, things involved in that. But we did do, like, you know, a special, they get a whole lot of stuff as part of that. And oh, by the way, every one of these like incentive things, you get other things with it, right? So you got 2 items included, right? With this one, you get stickers for free, and stickers are, you know, have their own price point if you want to add to your extras. So you know, and plus you get your name in the comic book. So everybody that actually buys a print comic, and I think I might have actually done it. Let me just go back up here right to the start, because I want to make sure I have the correct thing. Yeah, look, even if you buy the digital, you get a thank you from us in the comic. I actually have a page, right? And I have a page that's set up just for people's names in there for every single one. So if you back anything, like, you know, digital or the print ones, or the specials, or the you know, or, you know, stickers, or if you just want the trading cards, if you're just a trading card person who just trades, you know, like collecting limited trading cards, then you get your name in there as well as a thank you, because I think that's something, you know, like everything here, right? You get like a digital black and white version if you buy, you know, the color version. I mean, if you get the print version, get the black and white version as well, just to read, so that you don't have to worry about, you know, for free, right? Which is like another extra, I think about $2-3 or something, $3 US for free. As part of backing the thing. You know, and this one here, the Robot Lover D, what do you get? You get is that a lithograph or something? What am I touching? Yeah, you get a lithograph for free. So everything is like, you know, you get something for helping us, right? For backing this book, you get something extra. Now the other, you know, so you got like this one here. We got like a comic cover size poster for free if we get to this. Hopefully we do. You know, the fingers are crossed very hard, I guess, at this point. I do have something else that I've planned after this campaign is over. That's going to be really cool. Something very special. But that's going to be on another site. And, you know, we'll see. And it's going to be a limited release somewhere. We'll find out, but we'll just see. And it's kind of like, it's a touch and go thing, but we'll see how we do with this, right? Because at the moment, I'm like, you know, hoping against hope that we do succeed and that you guys will help us out on that. And now, questions. If you guys got any questions, please ask. And let me pop that away to there. There we go. Otherwise, I think I'm done for today. Didn't want to have these long streams on this, but you know, the links in the chat for the Kickstarter, and you know, let's go back right at the top. So there are 2 stories. It's you know, it's 12 pages and 16-page stories. And I've been told I put too much, you know, on there, but I kind of like didn't want it to be a long book, a comic book with like a bubble on each panel, and that's about it. Because I want to make people's, you know, value for money. And one of the things, right, part of this is a pull-out poster, right, which has like pinups on the back of it, and you know, things that doesn't affect the comic book if you do pull it out. And so, you know, I do want people to, you know, get more, you know, get a bang, what I call, you know, bang for the buck, right? Because it's everybody's money is tight right now. You know, everybody's like, you know, it's collecting something like this, especially from Kickstarter and the prices and stuff like that, and you're releasing foils and chromes and so on, and variant covers. You want to make sure that they're actually worth something to you for the long run, you know. And sometimes, like when you do a one shot, you're like, okay, well, maybe like it's not going to be that, you know, like the first appearance thing, right? It's only appeared in this one, but like the thing about these stories is like there's going to be tie-ins to other, you know, character might be tied into some other thing, because there's so much more ongoing that I'm doing with this. Like I've already got like you know, the CEO of Rising Sun Comics saying, I want to do a Robot Nation story already, right? And I'm already, you know, one of my colorists, I said, well, would you like to set story, you know, in America somewhere, right? Do a 12-page or 6-page, whatever story, Robot Nation set there. You know, what happened when this happened over here? What happened over there, right? With the Robot Nation story arc, you know. And so there are people who are like interested in writing this, and I'm hoping that more people will be involved in doing like the back, like little short stories that we can add to the ongoing series, to make it a bit more, because you know, I've already got like about 3 stories, 3 stories already, no, 4 stories already ready. Kind of like I've written like a 60-page story already for issue 3. Issue 1's got issue 2's got like about 30 pages already written. I need to write another 30 pages to complete that, or 20 pages. And the backup story's already written for that. that one's like, and this is the reason why we have a mature readers tag on the series, right? Because issue 2 is about 2 factory workers who, you know, basically have robots. They work in a robot factory. Who then one of them, they steal one of these robots, and there's a bit mature reason why they steal one of these robots, right? Don't want to like put too much out there, but like also this whole world, like this world today, because you know everything's kind of like, it's interesting when you're like writing stories like this that you can play as robots in any situation around humans, right? One of like just as finishing, there's this really really cool. Let me find it. Where are you? Okay, great. It came up unmuted. So there is there's an, and this is what like it. I don't, I don't want to get to I just want to keep this to art, but like I want to. Where are you? There's a couple pretty cool things coming out soon, movie wise, that I'm very excited about. Where are you? Oh, here we go. And so one thing we've gotten into is we've become very jaded right now because of all the like bad stuff, right? Like not bad stuff, like quality is like really in Hollywood is just repetition. So what it's gotten, stop. So what's happened is that every time we see something new, we already question it and think it's going to be bad, right? We've gotten to a point where that's the thing now, right? It's like everything is like we don't expect Hollywood to do anything great anymore. And so I want to show you this because this really excited me, right? And when we do the other stream, we'll on PlungeCast we'll talk about this in a bit more depth. But this is called the Wild Robot, and it's kind of like Wall-E. If you've ever watched Wall-E, like this is like probably about 10-15 years ago. Just find out where was Wall-E. Okay, when did Wall-E come out? And the reason I'm because as someone who loves movies, who's grown up with 2008, right? Wall-E came out 2008, so it's about 16. It's around 16 years ago. Yeah, that's 6. So was it? Hold up, let me get my calculator. I'm really terrible when it comes to like maths on the spot. So 2008 minus 2024, or vice versa, right? 24 minus 2008. Yeah, 16 years. So it's been 16 years since Wall-E, right? And so who did this, right? What was that called? The something robot? The Wild Robot. So the Wild Robot, and then we'll look at the thing, and we'll finish off on there. So Andrew Stanton did Wall-E. He wrote it and directed it. And Chris Sanders is doing Wild Robot. So let's have a look at the Wild Robot. Let's come back to the story.
Incident report. At 0300 hours, a number of Universal Dynamics robots were lost in a typhoon. Chance of recovery is unlikely.
Do you need assistance? Aggression detected. I see your problem. Processing language.
You need to learn how things work on this island.
Hello.
Goslings in print on the first thing they see. Which would be you? You're his mother now.
I do not have the programming.
No one does. He needs to swim and fly.
Swimming's easy. I can teach him the way my mom taught me. Swim! He's a runt. His chances aren't super good.
I will protect him. He's got to leave this island by fall.
Right, Bill?
It is more dangerous for him than anyone else. But he has a chance. If where his wings end, his heart can pay the balance.
You are not easy to find. You are defective. I feel fine. You should not feel anything at all.
Mom?
No!
Sometimes, to survive, we must become more than we were programmed to be. I will protect all.
You are ordered to return home.
I am already home, and I am a wild robot.
So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I thought that was really cool. It's such a it's such a great little well-crafted story. Something different and something charming, something you can take the whole family to, like Wally. So this is the this is the whole idea. IMDb page for it. Let me just bring it up, the link, so you guys can look at it later. And something to think about going to the movies with the family too later. I mean, look forward to, because at the end, like, everybody's kind of like, oh, everything sucks, and every other day you're hearing something really dumb about something else. And so seeing something cool like this, and like, I find it's kind of charming. There's a charm to it. It's it's a really cool, where are we? There's a page there. Let me bring it forward so I don't get lost again. So it's basically, as you saw, it's like after a shipwreck, an intelligent robot called Roz is stranded on an uninhabited island. To survive the harsh environment, Roz bonds with the island's animals and gets one orphan baby goose. So yeah, Chris Sanders. So what has he done before? The Croods. So yeah, the Croods, Mulan, How to Train, and of course, Road to How to Train Your Dragon, which, who does not like that, right? I love that. Croods was fun, gave it an 8. I just haven't given it that many things, but I haven't watched Lilo and Stitch, but I know a lot of people love that, right? What else? We got original Lion King story, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, 92. So yeah, it's got a good track record film-wise. So yeah, I reckon it's pretty cool. I think it'd be worthwhile going to. I mean, just by seeing the trailer, right? Well, yeah, I think that's something, there are some other cool movies coming out as well. Like there is that I thought was really cool is Transformers. There's going to be a cool looking Transformers 1 looks interesting. And then also I thought Craven was already out. It's been like Craven's been like they've been putting out the trailer for about a year now, but it slapped out in October. So that was kind of strange. But yeah, well, that covers it, I think, for today. But in finishing, I just want to show you one of, where are you? Another page from, I don't think I've shown this one, but another page from that's been colored. Oh, let's cover up. Hold on. Where have I already shown this? I think I might have already shown this. Yeah, but talking about robots, right? I mean, Robot Nation, you know, we've got a whole bunch of robots in Robot Nation, and I can't kind of show you all the images because it's kind of, short stories are weird. You can't, if you could show, if you show one whole page, you kind of like end up like, or like a scripted page, you like with dialogue and stuff, it basically gives the entire story away because everything's kind of like concise, right? But like, so you got like robots, an L1, and all of the how Francesco comes up with all these designs. I go, well, this is what this one's called, and this is what this, and this is what, that's what I kind of like, they're kind of based on. And then he'll go and create these amazing works. And then, of course, old Francesco comes in and colors it, right? It's just crazy. It's like, man. And like I was saying, like, I mean, the designs of these, like, might end up in the other stories, right? And that's the other thing about this, is like you got so many cool designs when it comes to these robots that you might see them again and again. But yeah, I just, this is why we kind of have like, mature readers, right, for this comic, because there are some things I don't want kids to see when they look at the book. And also later on there'll be nudity and racy stuff and mature content, not safe for work. And that's why this book, we're releasing it as not, as a what we call in New Zealand M15, like or 16, as a first issue. Later on, might get a bit more racy, a bit more not safe for work, because the stories, the stories tell themselves, and you just basically guide the characters where they want to go. And yeah, and that one was from like the Robot Nation story, and because you've all seen the, what it's called, the first, the Bobo, the Trouble with Bobo, this one here, right? So, and that's it. I'll leave you guys with that today, and thank you for coming along to watch PlungeComics. And please go check out our our page. The link is there. Hopefully you'll back our comic book. It's probably the second comic book we've released, and it's the first this year. And we've got manga coming up that we're working on. We've got, and the other thing, right? So here's the thing. Maybe this is what I should tell you to do, or I'll tell you to do, advice, whatever, get you to check out, is this page right here, which will basically take you to our page, right? Our store, and which will give you a chance to read the comic black and white, and decide whether you want to go in back, the full color 44 page, because this is only 36 pages,